looked both ways, heard the trolley bells, waiting for the light, thinking of Anna. Hazel eyes so lively. Mine the same, she said. Beautiful, Ma. Once she said, once there was a canopy out front before the war. Incredible, I thought. Floated by a canopy. So Anna decides that if, and only if absolutely necessary, to get a job, she will adopt the similar but much more waspy sounding nom de guerre of Anne Haver. That's Haver. Well, all of the above, of course, but it couldn't have hurt that Big Sister Shirley was a secretary for a top executive at RCA, or that Ma's oldest brother Julius, despite a formal education that ended in the 8th grade, was a manager on track to become RCA's Vice President of International Affairs. Well, if Ma wanted to stay unattached, I guess you shouldn't oppose like that. But maybe she wasn't unattached. Right, Ma? These shots, taken I'm almost certain in the Catskill Mountains, must have been from 1935, after my Ma had fallen in love with and married the good-looking, dashing, and often tempestuous sometime bandleader who was to become my father. Tempestuous, that fits, doesn't it, Ma? The story I heard, Ma, was that you met Dad at one of his concerts. Reportedly, you sat in the drummer's case. Whoa. I never heard what the drummer thought about all this, but Dad, perhaps as the band leader, thought it was his job to intervene. Dad couldn't have been too annoyed, though. The band soon disbanded, but you and he didn't. not till you died 50 years later. Your love match became a lifelong attachment. Attachment. That's a fair way to put it. About right, isn't it? No? Come on, Ma. You always protected Dad. From the little you told me, Ma, those first 2 years of your marriage, despite the tough times, must have been among your happiest. When I showed up, somewhat unexpectedly I gather, it's pretty clear from this vantage point that, your beautiful smile notwithstanding, the love nest you had with Dad suddenly got a lot more crowded. Since you were stronger than you looked, I'm sure the heavy lifting wasn't too much trouble. But your life had changed, and whatever time you'd had for yourself was now about gone. Now there were 2 people, and soon would be 3, who expected and got your unconditional love. Christmas time, 1942, Grandma helped take care of me. Cakes, scrambled eggs and bacon, it was all delicious. You still hear the bacon crackling? That's not possible, is it, Ma? Maybe not, but I do know that I still remember playing with a wooden milk truck underneath the Christmas tree. Even though we didn't have a chimney and I wasn't always very good, and we didn't go to church like Grandma and the rest of her family, Santa and later his surrogates would always show up and leave a lot of presents underneath our little tree. But getting back to the wartime Christmas of 1942, baby sister Carol was indeed my big surprise, and I'm sure that you and Dad were very happy at her arrival too. And if things did get a little more crowded, I'm sure that you would agree that our crib didn't take up much space in our cozy bedroom. On Sundays, Dad's day off, after standing on his feet for 6 days, trying his very best to sell people what he called major appliances, which starting in the 30s included refrigerators, which we always insisted on calling ice boxes, and then in the late 40s featured TVs, and weren't we proud to be one of the first families to have one, even if it was a demo. Perhaps I should point out that this was a time when a kid could come home from school and get a kick out of watching test patterns before Howdy Doody came on. Anyway, on Sundays, Dad's day off, he would herd us, usually with some difficulty, to the family jalopy and head off on a ride. To where? It didn't matter where. He just couldn't stay cooped up in that apartment. Am I right about all that, Ma? Come on, you know I am. And if we were still in the car riding around at 5 o'clock, which was probable, and hadn't managed to infuriate Dad by asking him over and over again where we were actually going, or due to any other inexcusable childish misbehavior, he might give us a treat and turn on the radio.
In the hearts of men. Shadow knows.
Now, those scary Sunday afternoon mystery shows, they were fun. As I've said, as far as I'm concerned, things were always pretty good, except maybe for some of those Sundays. But they did get better. Of course, I was a kid, the 40s and even the 50s. It seemed to take quite a while, even though I was aware of time passing and didn't like it even then. And now that I'm old, of course I see time passing in mere blinks of the eye. And those days, too. And Ma, isn't it amazing how these things happen? I'm not talking about divine intervention, or maybe I am, but either way, just when I'm really needing somebody to put a smile on my face. Who should walk in out of the clear blue or descend from the clouds, whatever you like, to claim the Florence Nightingale Award? Emil and Irene Wieners, Hester, or Hesse, from the remote reaches of, yes, it's hard to believe, Philadelphia. Meeting her was the most extraordinary good thing that ever happened to me. And with her caring, sunny disposition, she was also the very best present I ever gave my family. She was there for you when you needed her. And I'm sure you'd be interested to know, Ma, that later she was there for Dad, too. When Hessie and I got married and moved into our little apartment in Philadelphia, well, Carol, you finally got your own bedroom. Sorry it took so long. And Ma, though Philadelphia was kind of in a parallel universe, Dad had a good place to visit on Sunday with you because it was only 2 hours away. And I remember this one time when you even joined us in Atlantic City. When Carol and Jeff got married right about that time, not only did you have the 2-bedroom apartment at 701 all to yourselves, but when Dad and you felt like going for a drive on Sunday, you had more places to visit. Plus, since you were making good money as an executive secretary, amazing how you got those jobs. After not having had a typewriter for 20 years, you and Dad could afford to get away from New York sometimes in the winter. In 1974, Dad decided that he didn't want to stand on his feet in showrooms anymore, so you decided that you would give up your apartment at 701 after 32 years and buy a quote-unquote villa in Delray Beach, Florida. It would be the first and only home that either one of you would ever own. You and Dad both loved being in Florida and really enjoyed your modest so-called villa. You'd come back sometimes to see us and we'd visit you often. Once, when school was out, I think you took the kids down too. Looked both ways, heard the trolley bells, waiting for the light, thinking of Anna. Hazel eyes so lively, mine the same, she said. Beautiful Ma. Once she said, once there was a canopy out front before the war. Incredible, I thought. Floated by a canopy.